Hi everybody, I'm going to give it a few minutes for people to sign in and start watching. But until then, my name is Ashley Sear. I am the owner and founder of Private Investigations. I hope I'm talking loud enough. This is going to be our second live video. And today we are answering questions that were sent in from people like you on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, of course, email, and telephone. So I've got about a dozen questions I'm going to go through. I'm going to give it another minute or so before I start. Feel free to leave a comment or if you have any questions or anything like that, if you want to send us emails. If there's too many questions that come in, or if I see that this video is going a little too long, I'm going to answer the rest maybe on another live session a couple weeks from now. Okay, so let's just start here. So the majority of you have allowed me to write or to mention who you are and where I found you, or where you found me. And so I'm going to say your names. However, I've noticed there's a couple of individuals here that requested to remain anonymous, and I'll make sure not to mention your name live on here. Okay, so let's begin. First question was sent in by Kale via LinkedIn. Your question was, how often do you get caught trying to survey someone? And in these situations, how do you respond? Okay, so the first question's right in there. We don't get caught very often. It's our job to remain discreet, to stay hidden, to be in the shadows kind of thing. However, it does happen. Certain cases have a higher risk, and the client is fully aware of that prior to. So I couldn't really give you a number, but rarely, if ever. How would we react in these situations? It completely depends on how the target reacted, how it is we got burned. Did they physically approach the individual, or do we feel as though we got burned? So that's two completely different situations. And although it doesn't happen often, you know, it can escalate quickly to become even dangerous. So sometimes police have to get involved. All right, our second question is from Neil. Neil, you sent this in via LinkedIn as well. Have you ever had to arrest anybody? Okay, so not yet. We have the same rights as any civilian. So we can make a civilian's arrest if we want to, or if we have to. I shouldn't say want, it's if we have to. That being said, although there has been many occasions where we could have, we either had the police arrive on time quickly enough that we hadn't had to, or the client decided to resolve this situation on their own terms and not want to go the route of an arrest. Michael, you sent this in via email. Do you ever feel scared or uncomfortable as a woman PI on duty? Ooh, no. I'm sure it happens. There's situations where it's awkward. There's situations also where it's a very male-dominant area that I end up going into. Same thing with my female employees. But I think when you enter this industry, you really, you know what you're walking into. You're made for it, you're built for it, and you're used to it. So I'm gonna have to say no, but that's a good question. I might have to come back to this one later. Phil Gollin from Noticia LLP. Okay, so what would you do if you realize that you're being spied on or investigated by another PI? Okay, so funny enough, Phil, it has happened. That's when I first started the company, actually in 2015, one of my, I'm going to say, competitors or colleagues in the industry, I guess decided they wanted to find out a little bit more about this blonde chick that's claiming to be an investigator in Ottawa, and had one of their employees follow me around. And I quickly realized, and actually I decided, hey, I want to do some shopping today, and I went into a store the giant tiger, actually. So there's no method to how giant tiger is placed. So there's no aisles to walk down and all that kind of stuff. It's just sections. And me, as a very sporadic shopper, I don't start in one area and do the whole thing in any type of sequence. I decide to start here, end up here, go there. I'm all over the maps. And when I realize another shopper is doing the same thing and being just as sporadic or erratic as me, it kind of puts a little red flag. So he decided to keep following me. And I went around a corner knowing he was going to, sure enough, walk right into me if I just stayed there. And he did. So I decided to kind of just approach him, but in a way where we're not face to face, we're side by side looking at things on the wall. And I just decided to say, I have no idea who hired you. I don't really care why. But frankly, you've been burned and you should probably leave now. Sure enough, he did. It made me feel really good because now I knew that my competitors knew who I was. And, you know, I still got to do my shopping and my running around. It was a productive day. Next question is from Lauren. She called this question in. Hi, Lauren. So she asked, do you wear disguises? Yes, we do. So women and men, we both wear disguises. We need to be, we need to fit into every situation. So sometimes we have to look like we're homeless, so we have to completely alter the way we look. Sometimes I need to have brown hair, black hair, red hair, lots of makeup, no makeup, look like I'm 16 or look like I'm 45. We really need to alter the way that we look for various cases, depending also where we go. Somebody like me also, whenever I do decide to do surveillance, if I end up in a bar or a club or somewhere where I know a lot of my friends or people that know me would be, I make sure that they can't recognize me, just for the sake that they're not like, hey, Ashley, how's it going? Are you still an investigator? So I don't want my target to ever hear that while I'm following them. That being said, a disguise rule of thumb for investigators, if we ever do disguise ourselves or change our appearance, we need to make sure that it changes us from A to Z, and or else it's really not gonna work. Okay, so Cody via LinkedIn, you sent in 2 questions. So the first question you sent in, Cody, was, what would you say is the proportion of infidelity, marital disputes, etc., services provided versus other sorts? So that's a great question. We get, okay, so it really depends on the time of year. So what I would say is February, March, up until this point of the year, we have our private cases are huge. So that includes the custody, the divorce, the marital disputes, so on and so forth. And honestly, I don't know if it's because it's tax season, so people could afford us a little bit more, or if it's because it's spring cleanup and people just want to get rid of the negative vibes in their life and really clean up the, you know, the conflicts and resolve everything. And if that's the case, it's fantastic. Apart from that, I'd say corporate is summer and fall. It's really big, and depending on the seasons, it also changes the types of corporate cases we get. We get a lot more construction and summertime trades in the summer, and then we get a lot more in office type corporate cases throughout the rest of the year. Legal cases, however, all year round, non-stop, you know, lawyers never sleep. Cody, your second question were, are the courses you offer things you're particularly passionate about, or have you just developed a very particular set of skills that you feel inclined to pass on? Oh, I love that question. So I wouldn't say it's a very particular set of skills. I would say it's more a particular set of knowledge that I have. So in our industry, we work with databases, internet, websites, and, you know, applications, laws, all that kind of stuff on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And we just kind of see what goes on behind the scenes, what people are capable of when it comes to fraud and predators and hackers and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was really important to teach people how to avoid even getting into that kind of situation. And I just love teaching. I've never wanted to be a teacher. I'm much better in the shadows as a private investigator. But I've always kind of, thank you, Anita. I've always loved teaching and felt it important to have people really aware of what is what's out there and how to protect themselves, really. So I guess it kind of came hand in hand with the knowledge that I have. Naomi, first via LinkedIn. How has social media and the exponential rise in people strengthening their personal brands online impacted your role as a private investigator? Oh my God, you must work in marketing. Okay, so Naomi, I love that people put more effort on their own personal brands on social media. It makes my life as a private investigator that much easier. People tend to put too much information on social media and not know how to protect themselves with privacy and all that kind of stuff. So we end up finding out a lot more information just using, Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes we don't even have to move forward with doing surveillance or legitimate background checks because we get enough information just following them or scanning through their social media feeds. So I hope that kind of answers your question. But frankly, as a private investigator, I love that people are a little bit ignorant online and negligent online. So it makes everything easier for us. Veronica via Facebook. So investigators can track people by their cell phones even if their location is off. How do they do this? All right, so that's a fantastic question, Veronica. Thank you very much for submitting that. However, I'm not going to answer that the way you want me to. We are able to do a lot of tracking on electronic devices, so on and so forth. However, I can't tell you how we do that. You could do some Google searches if you want, or look up some different applications and all that kind of stuff if you're really interested in that. However, the databases that we use, there's certain programs and stuff like that private investigators use. We like to keep that to ourselves because otherwise you wouldn't need to hire us, now would you? And also knowing that tracking somebody's cell phone without the owner's permission is illegal. So I don't suggest you ever track or even a GPS on somebody's vehicle. If it's not your vehicle, if you don't have permission of the owner of that vehicle or cell phone or any of that, it's illegal to do that. So please don't go and break any laws just because you're curious. Call somebody like us and we'll make sure to get you your answers. Okay, Mary via LinkedIn. What is the difference for your PI online and in-class training? Okay, so Mary, if you're interested in becoming a private investigator, we do offer the mandatory 50-hour course online and in class. So the difference between the two is you get a lot more hands-on training in class. We do tactical surveillance training on foot. We teach you how to lift fingerprints, how to extract DNA. We do all of that in class. Online, you learn the theory, but you don't get to apply any of it. So you also get a teacher with you, so an actual private investigator teaching all of the material. If it's not me, it's one of my employees. And you get to ask questions as you go, learn more, hear more stories, and it's a better prep for the final exam. Okay, so the two last questions are anonymous. The first one is from Instagram. Do you get to carry any weapons for self-defense? Okay, so whoever you are that asked that, you are not the first person to ask that. And I love that people think that we carry weapons. Okay, so no. Firstly, we're a Canadian company. So our laws are very strict in regards to weapons, who can carry, who can't. Because I'm not a police officer, we don't carry weapons. Legally, we just we just can't. Hold on here. Anita says, love the in-class, on-foot, car, and lessons. Totally recommend. Thank you very much, Anita. You're an amazing student. You've still waiting for you to get that license, though. Okay, so weapons. No. I don't even know what to say to that without sounding crazy. Learn self-defense. Majority of private investigators do learn self-defense in case you ever do get in dangerous situations. You gotta learn how to protect yourself either way. Citizens arrests, but no, we don't carry guns or machetes or anything like that. So the last anonymous question was from Facebook. I don't understand how you can offer so many services. For example, your mediation course now. Aren't you all PIs? I wish I would have your name. So you're right, we are investigators, but we're not all investigators. I have a very large staff that have, I have an administrative assistant, 2 interns, 2 expert mediators, a wide array of private investigators, so on and so forth. So because we offer so many different types of services, doesn't mean that our staff isn't equipped for it. I may have 2 individuals on my team that solely work for the mediation, which I do. And that's how we are able to offer the wide array of services. Just because we're a private investigation firm doesn't mean we want to just help our clients with their first problem, which is,